Hey, what is going on, guys? DK back at you with another video here to break down the 3-game Wnba DFS slate on Thursday. It is great to have the Wnba back. It's been a while. It's been like a month or so. So definitely happy to get some Wnba basketball back in our lives. If this is your first time watching, guys, I cover content for daily fantasy sports, Wnba, NBA, NFL. Do already have a video breaking down the preseason showdown slate tomorrow for NFL, so go ahead and check that one out. And the sponsor of the video, that's going to be Underdog. Guys, if you're not an Underdog, definitely recommend it, highly recommend it. You can use the code DKDFS or the link down below for a $250 deposit match bonus. Tweeted this out a little bit earlier, but ran this slip for, we got Rakia Jackson tomorrow over her first half fantasy, over her first half points, 5.5. Then we took a couple of the Mercury props that are on Friday, not Thursday. So Mercury played back-to-back. These are for Friday. You guys want to tail that? We got Griner over 19.5 points, Cloud over 19.5 points plus assists, and then Rakia Jackson again over 5.5 first half points. And if you guys look more content, as always, you can check my Patreon linked in the description. All right, so let's just get right into it. We'll start off with Phoenix and Chicago. So for Phoenix, we already got confirmation Rebecca Allen is out. So the starting lineup should be Natasha Cloud, Sophie Cunningham, Clea Copper, DT, and Brittany Griner. Yeah, I mean, a good amount to like here, in my opinion, from Phoenix. I think the top three all look solid there with Copper, Cloud, and Griner. I think point per dollar, Griner's probably the easiest to get to. Would expect her to play around 30 minutes. You know, not necessarily scared of this matchup. So 9.5K Brittany Griner does stand out. But like the upside in Clea Copper in a revenge game narrative, if you're into that, she should play mid-30s minutes. We know the ceiling's pretty high. Natasha Cloud been playing very, very solid minutes as well. We know, she can stuff a stat sheet. So the top three look pretty good. DT at 8.6K, obviously underwhelmed in the Olympics, but a little bit of a different story here with this Mercury roster. She'll have much higher usage. So 8.6K, reasonable play here. Would expect her to play, around 30 minutes. Again, the Mercury are pretty short-handed. And Sophie Cunningham, expecting her to start, expecting her to play, somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 minutes. I think a reasonable value play. Off the bench, so Sug Sutton was a little bit banged up. She's been out for a while with a hamstring injury. She isn't on the injury report, so I think she's an interesting punt play. Would expect her to play some backup point. But that's basically it. Natasha Mack played the backup, 5 to Griner. I think there's better value in the slate we'll talk about with New York. The New York and LA game, I think we're going to get a lot of value there. All right, let's move on to Chicago. So Chicago, Kennedy Carter is expected to play, but I know she tweaked her ankle. That was like about a week ago. Now, obviously, there's no more Mabry, right? So you're going to get Michaela Onyewer. However you pronounce her name, Onyewer. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even going to try it. We'll call her Michaela. She's going to move it in the starting lineup. So it's going to be Carter, Allen, Michaela, Angel Reese, and then Cardoso. So looking at the top, Angel Reese, 10.8K, playing huge minutes recently. Obviously has a pretty high floor because she's a good rebounder. Yeah, I mean, I think she's a solid spend up. I think Brittany Griner is a little bit more optimal to get to on the other side for about, over $1,000 less. But obviously the ceiling's pretty high in Reese. And we've seen ceiling games from Kennedy Carter as well. No more Mabry. Expect her to, demand a little bit more usage here. So again, I think the ceiling goes up on those two. Cardoso at 7.8K, pretty reasonable play, no real strong takes. Obviously not a super high usage player, but decent point per minute. Should play somewhere in the neighborhood of like 25-ish minutes with upside to play a little bit more. Lindsay Allen is 6.5K. She's consistently been starting. Not the best point per minute player, but should play, again, 25 to 30-ish minutes. Then you got Michaela moving into the starting lineup. Not the best point per minute player, but is $4,000. I think one of the better values on the board for sure. Off the bench, I do think there's a couple interesting options. Isabel Harrison feels a little bit too pricey for me at 6K. But Dana Evans and Banham, I think, are fine punt plays. Dana Evans, the minutes had been ticking down a lot. But again, there's no more Mabry, right? So this team's going to need some offense off the bench. I think Dana Evans can provide that. So I think she's kind of a sneaky tournament play. I think Banham's going to get a little bit of a minutes bump as well. She's interesting at 3.6. Don't really think I'll get to anyone else. I think DeShields will play a little bit, but probably not enough for me to get to her. Washington, Minnesota. So that's my least favorite game to target here. Washington, you have Brittany Sykes back. You have Secure Austin back. You have Samuelson back. So a lot of these players are priced up. from when they were very shorthanded. It's also an awful matchup, so there's really just not much to like here at all. I mean, we'll keep an eye on the news. If Brittany Sykes is not on a limit, she would probably be the one I would look to, 7.9K, but assume they're going to take it easy on the minutes for her, Samuelson, and Shakira Austin. Shakira Austin is 5.5K. Also, I think an interesting option depending on what exactly that limit is. So I think my preferred options on this team would be the two that have been banged up for a while. That'd be Austin and Sykes. Just depends on exactly what that limit is, right? But really hard for me to get to anyone else on this team. Now for Minnesota, so I do expect some sort of a limit for Fee. Obviously she was banged up before the Olympics and then played a bit, but I don't know if she's going to come out right away and play her normal, 35-ish minutes. So I definitely like the upside on Fee, but expect her to be, kind of take it easy on her minutes for the first 2 games here. The issue here is a lot of these Minnesota players are priced up from when she was out for a bit. So I know it's a really good matchup, but nothing that really stands out. I think if you want to take shots on Alana Smith, McBride, Courtney Williams, Carlton, you can. But there's no standout plays here for me. Off the bench, a lot of these value players are priced up. Dorka, Heiderman, Xana Lassini. I don't think I can go there. So not a ton to love. Again, I think Fee's playable at the top. I think any of the other, main options are fine as well, but no one that really sticks off the page to me. And then finally, New York. So we already got news that Laney is out, so you should get Phoebish in the starting lineup. It should be Brianna Stewart, Ionescu, John Cole Jones, Phoebish, and then Courtney Vandersloot. But yeah, really like the upside here on the top 3 here with Stewart, Sabrina, and John Cole Jones. Stewart probably has the highest floor of those 3, but ceiling's massive on Brianna Stewart. Expect her to be popular. Sabrina Ionescu is playing big minutes, and again, with them, kind of taking these in the minutes of Vandersloot, she's done a lot more ball handling. She looks really good at the top, and then John Cole Jones should play 30-plus minutes as well. 31, 35, 33, 34, and 35 minutes over the last 5 games. So any of the top 3 for New York, I think, look really good. I think Phoebish is a solid play here in the mid-range. She should start and play around 30 minutes, 33, 32, 31, and 32 minutes over the last 4 games. Courtney Vandersloot, 6.2K. Obviously, the minutes have been not great on her. You did see that one game against Connecticut where she played 34 minutes. I think she's viable, but there still is some risk with her just because, again, minutes have not been as secure. Don't really know if I get to anyone else. Thornton will be in the rotation. You'll probably see some Jokic, a little bit Sabally, but I think there's better value here on the Sparks, who you will talk about now. So Sparks, we just got some news. No Ari McDonald, no Talbot. So expecting the starting lineup to be obviously Hamby, Stevens, Rakia Jackson, and then probably Nurse and Clarendon. Not really the best matchup, but I think Hamby and Stevens obviously both playable at the top here. Both should play mid-30s minutes, assuming the game does stay competitive. No issue with either of the main Sparks. I think if I had to pick between the two, I would lean Azure Stevens. And then Rakia Jackson, someone I have a lot of money on her props, her first half props because of the blowout risk in this game, but she's been playing huge minutes, getting a lot of shots up. I think she's a totally reasonable play here as well. But I think the main options are going to be a lot of the value plays here, right? So, for example, you got Kia Nurse, 4.5K. She's going to find her way into more minutes. Ray Burrell, 3.3K. She's going to find her way into more minutes now. Clarendon, I'm guessing picks up the start. Probably started at the 4.7K. She looks pretty good. Lee Uri, but was out for a while. Again, she was... She missed a few games because she's training with the Olympic team, the China Olympic team, but she should play the backup big position. We know she's a good point per minute player. Probably see somewhere in the neighborhood of like low to mid-teens minutes, possibly more if this game blows out. So she looks pretty good. Zaya Cook should see rotation minutes. And then what I wanted, I'm not sure if Crystal Dangerfield, I was looking into this, if she's going to be available or not, because they released her and then signed her to a 10-day, like 5 days before the end of the first half of the WNBA season. So I'm not sure if that contract, if that like extends to the second half. So I'm not sure if she's even going to be available. But if she is, she'd be the 9th person in the rotation and probably just play a little bit unless the game blows out. But yeah, lots like here for value here for the Sparks. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up the video. As always, if you do enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. See you guys all in the next one.